Hey Legend Crew, welcome back to another episode of Legend Ethics, Shared Dreams. Episode 25, so I had to do a special episode with my friend Scott Stewart over here. I do owe a lot to this guy over here. We started rehearsing for a project that we were working on, and he saw my binder with my drawing of the Legend Ethics Heart of Gold on there, and he just started asking me about it.
Yeah.
And for a few months of rehearsing, we would meet up at a coffee shop, and for the first hour and a half, all we would talk about was this. And he gave me so many helpful tips on the editing, the process, how to set up the online store, just everything like that. So Scott, I do have to say thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure. It's amazing how well it's grown. And I always remember, like, we got to a point where it's like, hey, maybe we should rehearse. And we rehearsed for like 2 minutes, like, yeah, I think we got it. And then go on. And then the next time we'd have to go, I think we need to rehearse a little bit more.
I mean, it was tough not talking about it. Each time we came over, we were always excited to share what was new about it.
Yeah. And for me, it was really cool to see you grow and expand, like every week, and you work so hard on it. You would just like pick up from the ideas that we kicked around, and you're like, hey, I did this. And I'm like, do you sleep?
Yeah, but I really do appreciate it, Scott. I mean, no experience, a ton of experience, and it was very helpful.
Yeah, I'm glad it's worked out for you.
Yeah. But in regards to that project that we were working on, we were actually going to the same studio, acting studio, and we'd never done a scene together. But I do remember a little anecdote real fast. Well, I came to LA about 5.5, 6 years ago, coming up on 6 years, and I went to the studio to audit, and you were actually doing a scene, like when I walked into the building.
What?
Yeah, and as you can tell, I mean, very good comedy chops over here. And I was immediately impressed, and I remember I was looking through the door and I was just staring at him, and I was watching, and I was like, man, that guy. And it clicked. Wow. And it took me about 1.5 years to get into the master's class, and so we went into the same class, but we never got to do a scene together. And then I
was in one of your scenes though. There was a scene, I'm like, I'll volunteer.
Yeah. But we'd never actually done a scene together.
No, we never did a scene together.
Which was,
it's weird because you spend a bunch of time together, but you don't end up doing a scene. And I had other people, I just never did scenes because the timing in the class and people would get jobs and stuff. And
that was the thing. Our time overlapped for, I think, about 3 years together. We just in 3 years never did a scene together.
It was weird.
Yeah, but it was cool. I mean, he reached out and asked if I want to be a part of this project that he wrote, directed, and he's editing right now. Which will be going to film festivals. So I'm excited to see that. But
he was awesome in it.
It's an interesting character for sure. I don't want to say too much about it, but it's an interesting character, and you said it kind of showed a different
it
side.
Showed because in class he had a certain area that you would kind of always play. Like in class, you always work on what you need to work on. The teacher's like, okay, you should be working on this. Then you'd work on this, and he would be working on stuff. But then I saw, it was weird because when I was writing this part, I could only see you in my head. I'm like, okay, it's got to be him. And then there was an Instagram post you had of a certain look, and I'm like, I got so excited. So then we spoke, and he's like, I want to do it. So it turned out to be so fun. It was really awesome. It's called Late Bloomer, and this guy's kills it.
But what was really awesome too was Scott actually reached out to Kian and Sophia and Natalie as well. So we actually had 5 students from our studio, which was awesome. I mean, a couple of them I hadn't seen in a couple of years. So it was great that you were able to get the group together.
Absolutely. Awesome. It works out really good that way because I know these guys and I've seen them in hundreds of scenes. It just goes on and on for years and years. But you get to see people and you get to know who they are and who you like and how they would fit in a part. So it's like I didn't have to audition or anything. I just knew that I wanted him in this film, and I was super excited. And we just rehearsed it and got it all down so that when it came time to shoot it, was just like boom. We just got in there and went to town with it. It was really fun.
So once it's done, that'll be going to film festivals and stuff like that. When do you expect that'll be kind of doing its thing?
Well, one of the tricky things with doing your own film and not having a deadline or not having anyone paying you for it, you do not have a deadline, as I said. So what happens is I have a tendency to maybe over-calculate it a little bit. Like I'll get things done, I really like it, some time will pass and I'll go back and tweak it out a little bit. It works really well that way. But the downside is there's a lot of time the clock just keeps going because you don't have an exact finish time on it. And my family keeps asking me, when are we going to see it? When are we going to see it? And I'm like, when it's done. So anyway, I'm getting through, I'm like 3/4 of the way through color correction. I've just been working on songs and effects and recording, that kind of stuff. So we're getting really close to having it done, and I'm excited to get it out to you guys.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. It's going to be really funny. I mean, just reading the script the first time through, it's going to be a lot of laughs.
Yeah, and wait till you see his outfit and the way he is, and it's really funny.
And you have a very interesting scene with Kian where you really get to know each other very well.
Yeah. It was really fun to do it, and I remember it being super hot in our living room, and it was just like in between takes, we were just like mopping down and action, and then back into it. Yeah, that's pretty fun.
But I mean, it's cool that you have so much experience in terms of, I mean, you wrote it, you directed it, you're acting it, and now you're editing it. So what was how did you
do it all together?
How'd you do that? I mean,
well, there's two things in life. There's either time or money, and I didn't have a large budget for it, but I had time. So the process was, I had this idea in my head, and I would go for hikes every couple days, and whenever I went on the hike, I just started rolling all these ideas and images in my head. So I basically had the whole film done in my head, and it was like, okay, well, I have to convey it to people. So I just I got up every morning at 5 a.m. for 5 days in a row and wrote for about 3 or 4 hours and just typed it all out, and boom, it was there. And from there, I just started contacting all these guys and saying, hey, I have this idea for film, and da-da-da-da. And as I was doing that, I was putting it together, the technical side of things too, because there's so many components to a film, and it's just, like I said, it's either time or money. So with the time, I would just go and learn about LUTs, look up tables for color correction. I'd get just practice on stuff myself, and just sort of built it up over time. And how do people use sound, and how do you record sound? And I used to do music before, so I would get involved with the sound and figure all that stuff out. So it's just basically having the perseverance to stick with it and work through each individual thing, because it is huge. It's such an undertaking, and it's constantly going, and there's nothing motivating you other than yourself. Like, there's no movie studios going, we need it this Friday because we paid you $4 million. No, it's not like that. It's like, you just have to have the passion there and the desire to get it out to people, and it's a fun story, and it's just a ton of work.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people don't understand, and that's what I didn't understand too. My first time on sets for my very first projects when I first came out here, I didn't realize how much actually went on behind the camera. It's not like real life. It's not like a reality show where it's going on and they just film and they'll put it out there. Mm-hmm. It's not that raw content. I mean, there's a lot of planning and scheduling and everything that has to go into it. But that's how, I mean, he was able to share all this experience of what kind of recorder, what kind of mic I should be using, what kind of cameras I should be using, so on and so forth. I mean, you have, so much equipment that he was actually letting me borrow equipment when I first started off as well. Yeah. But I mean,
just you do it in stages, little bits. When you're shooting stuff, you're like, oh, I need a slider, or I need a gimbal, and you just build it up like that. And then also too, on all the projects, I try and challenge myself. Like on this particular one, I wanted to shoot it all on an iPhone. And I wanted to shoot it with an anamorphic lens. It gives it a very cinematic quality. And I contacted a manufacturer in Buffalo, Moondog Labs, spoke with them, but there was an issue with the lens adapter on the iPhone was like microns off. So a little bit of the edge of it initially was blurry in the test footage. So contacted them, talked to the lens designer, got back and forth. Hey, try this, try that, try that. Then finally he came up with the idea, and I was part of them fixing the problem. So it was kind of crazy. But the point is, that all takes time, and you're pulling your hair out. You're like, is this ever going to work? And then, you just keep at it and you make it work.
Yeah. But it's like you said, it's the self-motivation, really. I mean, that's the hard part sometimes. I mean, I was watching this lady do a talk show, and she was saying when your alarm goes off, most people hit snooze. But once you start hitting snooze, you get in this repetition and this bad habit of you're not going to get out of bed. Yeah. But you have to have that self-motivation of being able to get out of bed before you count to 3. Yeah. So I mean. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean that was for me, just. And also too, I would go to bed at night excited to get up and do it. That's it. And because I love, like, we love doing this stuff. So that's why you end up doing it for years for free, or you drive in LA traffic for an hour and a half just to go in and go,
you read your one line that you're all excited about, and your one line's like, "Here's your hamburger." Did I get the part?
Yeah.
So, but without that excitement, you wouldn't be driving in your car, getting up early, and doing this stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always wanted to know, but how did you go into acting? I mean, what started you off on all that? I mean,
I lost a bet originally. And,
Yeah.
It was just one of those things. Like when I was in school, just like talking to people and hanging out, and it's just sort of the class clown thing sort of developed from there. You know, like, wow, girls kind of pay attention to you if you're funny. So you either have good looks or a comedy chop. So I kind of went the comedy chops route, and maybe in my next life I'll be a model, but not quite right now. So anyway, just sort of went through in high school and did funny, and then went into stand-up comedy. And then there was a comedy group in Canada I was a part of for a little while called The Kids in the Hall, and did improv. And then at the studio I had all the improv stuff behind me, and I wanted to get into real hardcore scene stuff, so which was great in our school because it's just literally scene study. You get the scene, you do it, 2 weeks, boom, you're on to the next scene, and just doing that for years and years and years, you get really comfortable with doing scenes. So I kind of just worked it that way. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing too. A lot of scenes. I have a binder. The binder doesn't even close anymore. It's like this, overflowing with scripts.
Yeah, exactly.
You need that. You need that practice.
Yeah.
And it's consistently working on it as well. And Jet.
We're gonna wait on the Jet.
I mean, I'm running out of space on my bookshelf with all my scripts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. But I love keeping them. I mean, those are keepsakes. I mean, you
it's just kind of like they're almost like time. Oh.
I mean, you put so much. I mean, if you break it down as you're supposed to, there's so much personal information on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also like they're almost like paychecks in a sense, where you can see how many hours you've worked on it.
Yeah.
So it's hard throwing out the scripts because there's so much time, blood, and sweat in these scripts, and it's always cool. It's interesting in just sort of a behind the scenes thing in the actor world. It's weird because in class we work on these scripts that are written by top script writers or top playwrights, authors. Like, they're the best in the world writing these lines, and the lines are amazing. So you get these beautiful moments and scenes going, and then you get an audition, like a regular audition, where you're like, you get the audition, you start reading it, you're all excited, you read it, it's like, here's your hamburger.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, I'll give it what I got. So I always just found it weird we had this beautiful and amazing writing, and then you just go into like the auditions and the writing's not so good, but that's what it is.
That's the thing too sometimes. I mean, a lot of my self-tapes, my manager, Scott Erickson, he wants all of the actors on the management team, we go to his place to film it, he has a nice setup and all that.
Yeah.
But he reads the script, and he's like, they sent this for an audition.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, there's not much range. You can't really show much, and some of them there's absolutely nothing. But I mean,
but we love it.
We're passionate about it. Yeah. But
no. I don't need money for this. What? Are you crazy? Yeah.
But I mean, as we know, I mean, there's no such thing as a small role. I'm a small actor, so whenever I get a script like that, I always have to remind myself that, grudgingly so sometimes, but. You have to remind myself of that. Yeah.
It's the actor's life.
Yeah.
Hashtag actor's life.
Yeah. No, and I was just about to ask about obstacles. That is the obstacle.
I mean,
actor's life.
It's got a bazillion obstacles. It's really one of those things where you have to be drawn to it. It's extremely difficult, but it's like you wouldn't do anything else, and people don't understand that necessarily. It's like simple. Probably the strongest obstacles are family, where it's like, okay, so you've been doing it for a while now, when are you going to get a real job? And that's hard because it comes from people you love, whereas as you get older, you realize that it's good not to listen to the advice of other people and not worry about what other people are thinking about you, but you still have that core family and friends, and that's always difficult. Plane!
Man, I heard that.
This show is brought to you by water, H2O. When you're thirsty, drink water.
We can't afford product placements.
Yeah, exactly. We pay you. And I was just sort of summing up with, with family is really difficult, because you want to, you want to make them proud of you, and
Absolutely.
the rest of the people, not so much. It's always a bonus to it, but that's probably one of the biggest obstacles, and the time. So my thing is, you just have to be super persistent. Like there's nothing else, because you can have talent, but if you don't have the persistence, it just wanes off, just because there's so many people in LA and the world that have talent. But you have to have the persistence, because that drives you through everything. And if you don't have talent, but you have persistence, eventually, if you take classes and you really work on your craft and work on getting better, then you will have the talent and the persistence.
Yeah. I mean, there's 7 million people in LA.
Wow.
7 million.
Yeah.
I mean, and a majority of those are probably going into acting.
At least, like, I lived at this other place, and we had a kiln in the basement, and we had the electrician come in to install the kiln, and just jokingly I said, "So what's your script about?" And he kind of turned around with a look like, "How did you know I was writing a script?" And then he proceeded to tell us about a script. Everybody has a script. Everybody.
That's funny. And you said like you're Uber driver as well. That one time we were talking about the script that we were working on, Uber driver as well.
Everybody.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you first came out to LA, what was perhaps a personal obstacle that you faced? I mean,
basically it's just knowing what to do. Like you're moving from where you grew up or wherever you're coming from, and you kind of have an idea of what you're doing, and as simple as, hey, where do I buy a banana? You got to rediscover that in Los Angeles. But there's also like, okay, so where do I take acting classes? Because there is a zillion acting teachers in LA. Some of them great, some of them not so great, and there's a process to find those teachers. So you might have to audit a bunch of classes, so that can take months. So basically for me, it was just about getting the lay of the land. It was like, what classes do I take? Where do I hang out? Where do I meet people? Where's the actor bookstores? That kind of thing. And it's just sort of a time thing, if you're not in a hurry. It's just, you got to play for the long game, I think. It's like, there's a lot of people that come here and go, okay, I got to be on a show in 2 months. And, maybe it happens, but you're putting these sort of self-imposed obstacles that if that doesn't happen, then you're a failure or whatever. And everyone, to me, plug for the film Late Bloomer, one of the things I learned is everyone has their own schedule of time when they bloom, air quotes, and everyone's different. So you can't really put a time on when you're going to hit it or not hit it. So you got to love the process. And it becomes about your own personal self-growth and evolving and changing. And you got to love that, because that is what you are going to have. That's basically all you have. And the bonus is when you actually land jobs and get paid for it, and people see you on TV and it's like, oh, I saw you on TV, or your, family and friends start emailing, hey, that was really good when you were da-da-da-da. So that is the awesomeness to it, but it's just you and yourself working at a craft. So you gotta love it.
Well, I mean, that's what really dwindles down. I mean, even in our studio, I mean, you see it in the earlier levels of the classes. You see a lot of those students who come in thinking, oh, this is going to make me great or whatever. And just because the notoriety of who our teacher is, they think that's going to make them great, but it's a long haul.
Yeah, it's a lot of work too, and people don't realize how.
They don't.
I mean, you can have sort of what they call natural talent, which will take you so far, but after a point, there's a lot of people that are super talented that just get to a point and they can't grow any farther because they're not putting in the legwork to get to the point where they need to start growing to beat the other actors that are already really good there anyway.
I mean, you've kind of already covered it with what you've said, but I mean, what would be what's kind of kept you motivated to,
the money. It's all about the dollars and cents, baby. I may put up a good game about, it's about self-growth and personal, all about the dollars and cents. No, it's sort of getting back to that thing I touched on earlier, where I think it's just a part of who I am. It's the way I express myself. It's the way I see the world. It just makes sense through acting. And whether that's doing voiceovers or whether that's doing a play or TV or doing my own film, or I've got a project that I'm for my new short film I'm working on now. It's going to be I'm going to have a ventriloquist doll in it. So I've just been doing research on that. So the point is that it takes many forms. It's just sort of who you are. But it's really just about the it's really just about the perseverance. That's really what it is. Persistence, just moving forward step by step by step, you know, taking little goals and making those things happen. And then after a period of time, you look back and you go, wow, I actually did some stuff here.
I mean, and as our teacher points out, I mean, in the very first pages of her book too, if you read her book, Power of the Actor, it says in the very first page, anyone, even if you're not going into acting, anyone can tell good acting and great acting. When I first came out here, I mean, yes, I had read her book a couple of times through just because I wanted to and I was excited. But when I first saw him, when I first started the class, I mean, like I said, you caught my eye. And when I finally got into the master's class, I saw this guy. So that's what passion and persistence does, is it translates into, I mean, you can just, it emanates from us, and you can just feel that.
Because I mean, to me, there's not really anything else. That's all. Like once you sort of go through it for years and years and years, you just realize that a lot of the stuff is fluff, and it's really, what is it about? It's just about you sticking with it and going for it day in, day out. You asked how to stay motivated. It varies. I mean, everyone sort of goes through cycles of, you know, issues of self-reflection. What am I doing? And it's okay to have that. I mean, it's totally normal to have that. It's just make sure you get out of bed the next day and start working a little bit towards it. As long as you're heading that way, you'll eventually get there. Or not. Everyone says, keep working hard, you'll make it. Or not. That stuff happens too.
Oh, darn.
That's why you gotta love it.
Yeah, definitely.
Love the moments.
It's a gamble. Essentially. I mean, there's no guarantee.
No.
But I mean, if you're really
sorry. Hang on, what? There's no guarantee? Really?
What am I doing here?
Yeah, that's
Dad, I'm coming
different.
home.
Okay, so I gotta rethink a lot of things now.
Yeah. That would be interesting. That would be
It's guaranteed. No, it's hard because I always use that analogy of like, if you become a lawyer, it's difficult to become a lawyer, but if you follow a process and you write the bar, you are now a lawyer, and people will, you know, if you're not a nut job, people will hire you. You know? It's just that if you're a nut job in acting, you generally do pretty good. But there's no guarantees in acting. Like, you can be working on yourself, get better and better and better. And it's just, that's kind of what it is. But that's why we love doing it.
So, I mean, you're answering all my questions before I even ask them. But
okay. Your next, so it would be soy milk.
Soy milk.
I like a lot of soy milk in my, almond milk, actually, switched over.
But I mean, so would be another tip that you can give the viewers in terms of chasing
so this is a big thing that it's taken me a little bit of time to figure out, but basically what the idea is, you can't wait for people to give you stuff, you have to make stuff happen. And the simplest situation is make your own content, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's you're just making little animated things at home. Just keep putting out the content there, because two things happen. You get your voice out to the world, and you get better at what you're doing. So it's very difficult to remain the same if you're constantly doing new things. So you're always learning, you stay curious about things, and just keep putting out content. That's basically what came to the idea I came to with the film. It's like, you know what, I'm not gonna wait for people to give me an audition for your hamburgers here, sir. I'm gonna make things happen, and I'm gonna put myself in the lead, because that's what I want and that's what I'm gonna do. Because we all want as actors to be in the lead, but generally, you know, until you get a name for yourself, you're getting the hamburger guy role. I guess it would be called the waiter, and which is kind of ironic because you're a waiter auditioning to be a waiter. I did that role in a movie a long time ago, and it was just like, how ironic is this? But anyway, it's just about creating your own content in any way, whether it's a podcast. You just never know. Just throw out the fishing lines of ideas that you have, and then something perhaps will hit, and work begets work. Like Natalie that was working on the film, she just sent me a text, hey, do you want to be in a play? And I'm like, yeah. I didn't even ask what it was. She sent over the script. Nice. And I'm like, yeah. And then the next thing we know, we're runner-up. We're in the finals. We're runner-up in the finals of a theater festival here in Los Angeles. And it was just like, and that all happened like within a week. So it's like that work begets work. Just get your stuff out there, and I think the magic will start to happen, or not.
No guarantees.
What? Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
any final thoughts before we kind of wrap up this episode?
No, absolutely none. Zero thoughts. Ever. I have so many thoughts going through my head. What do I pick now?
Yeah.
So watch for this guy in Late Bloomer. He is awesome. That'll be coming to something near you.
Yeah.
Just watch for it, or you can email him, see what's what with that. And just stay persistent, really.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Just stay persistent. Keep working and moving forward, because what the hell else can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Scott, thank
Yeah.
you very much
Yeah.
for being on this episode. Thank you
Absolutely.
for everything that you've
Yeah.
done. Thank you for being such an amazing friend. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I mean,
my pleasure. You've been doing awesome on this, and it's once again, it's been amazing to see you build and grow this, and I just see it blowing up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, bud. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Alrighty, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap this episode up for Legend Ethics Share Dreams. Again, this was Scott Stewart. Amazing content. I mean, a lot of experience with everything that he's done. I mean, across the board with the film industry, not just acting, but everything else as well. So, I mean, I've learned so much from him. So I really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, to stay up to date with all these legendary guest stars, I mean, be sure to like and subscribe, because I mean, they're sharing their very unique and personal stories, a lot of knowledge, and I find them very inspirational. I hope you guys do as well. And if you'd like to be on an episode, just contact me through Instagram, Facebook, comment down below, reach out to me. I'd love to hear more stories and share them with the world. And yeah, other than that, let's build the Legend Crew, guys. Let's keep it going.